Greetings, friends. David Marks here. Did you know that the Quick Develop panel inside of Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic is riddled with tricks and secrets? It's true. There's a lot more to this part of Lightroom Classic than you might think. So, if you're interested in speeding up your image editing, then stick with me as we dig into the mysteries of the Quick Develop panel. The first thing that I need to show you is that there are more options hidden inside of Classic's Quick Develop panel than it first appears. To expose some of the additional controls, tap on each of these little gray triangles to reveal the whole panel. Actually, claiming that this is the whole panel is not quite true either, because if you hold down the Alt-Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, then two more secret buttons will be temporarily revealed. Hidden controls, though, are small potatoes compared to some of this panel's other secrets. To explain one of Quick Develop's biggest tricks, let me hop over to Classic's Full Image Develop module for a moment. And here, I want to show you what happens if we take the changes from one image and apply them to another. On this photo, I'm going to make some quick changes to the tone and white balance settings in the Basic panel. Now, if I slide over to the next image, then you can see that I currently have very different values in place for the exposure and the white balance on this one. If I copy and paste the settings from the last image onto this one using the Apply Previous Adjustments command, then the settings that I had on my first image will completely replace all of the settings that I had on this one. Adobe calls this replacement an absolute change. Let me show this trick another way. If I go back to the Library module now, and if I select that first image that I worked on, plus this one, then I can use the Sync Settings button to copy some of the changes from the first photo over to the third. In here, I can choose what to copy. I don't have to copy everything, but again, the synchronize part of this command is going to replace all of the values that I had on this photo with the ones for this one for all of these settings. This absolute settings replacement behavior generally presents few problems, as long as the images that you're working on are very similar. But what if you have a couple of images like these, where the appropriate develop settings are not all going to be the same? Here, for example, I have 3 images that I've already enhanced in the develop module. These are completely different photos, but all of them look a little dark to me. This is a scenario where the relative changes that the Quick Develop panel can append on top of our existing settings really shine. If I select all of these images, and then if I tap on this button here in the Quick Develop panel, then I can add one stop of additional exposure adjustment onto the existing exposure value for each of these. That's so cool. If I think they're too bright now, I could tap this button to make them all a little bit darker. Unlike changes in the Full Develop module, the Quick Develop panel makes relative changes. Tapping on the outside buttons, the ones with the double arrows beside the word exposure, for example, adds or subtracts a complete stop of brightness from whatever settings this image currently has. Tapping these inner buttons will also change the exposure, but the inner single arrow buttons apply a third of a stop's worth of change. In the Quick Develop panel, the outer buttons make larger changes, and the single arrow buttons apply smaller increments. Here's another minor secret. If you want to apply even smaller adjustments, then you can hold the Shift key down with one finger and tap on any of the single arrow buttons. On a block of images like these, I can save myself a lot of time by applying a relative adjustment here to warm up each image or to add a touch more vibrance on top of these images' current settings. Now, obviously, I can make more precise changes to each of these images inside of the full development module, but that takes more time. Let me show you another trick where I'm willing to sacrifice a bit of precision for a whole lot of speed. When I have a series of images like these wedding portraits, I often will take one into the full develop module. I'll fix its exposure using something like the auto button, and then I might apply some sophisticated changes using Classic's amazing AI-powered masks. On this photo, for example, I might use my subject boost set of masks to brighten up the bride and groom, and the reduce background masks to darken the background. I might even apply the light retouching AI-based mask to these two to make them look even better. And in no time, I can go from this, our original, to this, having pushed only a couple of buttons. But this only affected this one image. So here's a place where I could select a group of photos in the library module. Then I could go to Quick Develop and tap on Auto. Then I can go up here to where it says Saved Preset, come down to my preset groups, and apply that subject boost, apply that reduce background, and even apply my light retouching AI-generated preset. I've covered creating these AI-powered presets in some of my other tutorials, so I'm going to skip over that detail today. But watch this. If I go back to this image now and go into the full develop module, let me show you the quick before and after. We started with this, we got to that. And if I open up the masking, look at all these masks that make them pop. And I was able to apply them to this photo in no time. If I move over to the next image, you can see that Lightroom recalculated the masks for me, and it did a great job here. That's pretty amazing, and it wouldn't take me long at this point to add a couple of additional changes or to go in closer with more precision and fine-tune each of these. Well, there you go. If you found this video helpful, then please subscribe to this channel and leave us a like or a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next tutorial.